It is Friday, November 15th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. How do you decide whether you're going to wear your hat forward or backward on a given show?
I don't really know, Chris. I just go for vibes. I just
Hmm.
feel the vibe, man. And this is actually from the country club I told you that I played yesterday, Hillcrest Country Club in LA. And it looks better backwards. I don't know.
Yeah, when you have to pay $5,762 to play a round of golf somewhere, do they give you the hat for free or do they charge that on top of it?
I do not know how much the round was. I got taken out by someone who was very nice to take me out there. So, yeah. I'll
I love it.
reciprocate at my country club. It's not as
Yes,
nice as that one,
but still, that away. Ballers. All right, coming up a little bit later in the show, we're going to go over the looks that we saw out in Las Vegas as the MLB awards show was on out there. We'll
yeah.
discuss that as well. But
Okay.
next week are the big time awards. So you've got Manager of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, and that's actually we're going to start today's show. American League, Judge, Witt, and Soto. National League, Ohtani, Lindor, Marte. Neither of us are going to be shocked if it's clean sweeps for Judge and Ohtani, but I think that Judge is probably the more interesting conversation here. This would be his second MVP. Do you think that it won't mean much to baseball fans because they'll still be so focused on his lack of playoff production?
It's an interesting conversation. I mean, I feel like we've had this with Michael Trout. It's the same kind of scenario here. Maybe on a little bit bigger scale because we talk Mike Trout not being in the playoffs, and we're talking about Aaron Judge not performing when they get into the playoffs. And he's obviously had I don't want to say a ton of postseason at bats, but it's getting up there now.
Mm-hmm.
Or he hasn't performed the same way that he's performed during the regular season. So it is an interesting conversation. I know Yankee fans will say, yeah, like the MVPs, regular season MVPs, are not meaningless, but they're hoping for World Series MVPs, ALCS MVPs. I think that means more to those fans, but I don't think that you can completely disregard what this guy does because he is such an incredible player. And not only is he an incredible player, we know the numbers and what he brings to the table, but he's like Jim Tomei to me. Like he's a real life superhero. Like if you ever see Aaron Judge in person, it's shocking how big he is, and he just is a different type of person. So, I would he rather that's I think that's a more interesting question, and maybe we'll ask him one day, Chris. Do you think he'd give up these regular season MVP awards to have a World Series MVP award?
Well, it depends. So, I mean, if you're giving up the MVPs, are you just kind of a guy, or are you still a great player that just hasn't won an MVP? That's the question, because I don't think it's fair to ask somebody to give up all of their individual accolades, and he
Well,
wouldn't have
he
gotten the
would say
300.
yes to
Well, of
that, by
course
the
he
way,
would
because that's what
say
he's
it,
trained to say.
right?
Yes.
But now, whether or not he would mean it, it's also different than Mike Trout. I want to kind of go back here a little bit because whenever we talk about Trout, it's how the Angels have failed him.
Yeah.
It's never about how Mike Trout has failed. Here, this is singularly on Aaron Judge, even though his numbers in almost 60 playoff games, they're not horrific, but
No.
they're nowhere close to what he does on a normal basis. It's 16 homers. The batting average is terrible of 205. I think the OPS is 768. So we're not talking about absolutely, I can't believe it, but highest strikeout rate in playoff history with a certain number of plate appearances. It's not good. It's not, and he's not, to his credit, he doesn't shy away from it. So, but I don't think you can hit erase on what he does. The guy was almost an 11 WAR player this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is I don't think it's gotten to that point yet where we start to say, "Oh man, he can't do it in the playoffs." He
We're pretty
hasn't
close
done it.
though, right?
He hasn't done it yet. But I don't think we're there where we're saying he can't do it and he's some guy that can't handle the pressure.
But
I'm
what,
not there
so when
personally
is it?
whatsoever.
When is it? Because it's been 9 years. I mean, the Yankees are virtually in the playoffs every year with him. And usually, I mean, this year he played all the way to the end.
Well, I think yeah. If he runs the gamut again, and the Yankees get into the World Series again, and he has another postseason like he had this year, then I'll start to think about it next year for sure. I just in my mind it doesn't take away from what he's been able to do in the regular season because, dude, the postseason is awesome, and the postseason is what you play for. But don't we can't disregard a 162 game schedule. And this is a guy that does it for that long, that consistent. Those numbers, like that's a lot of baseball that this guy is the best, second best player in the league. Some would argue first. So I can't. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, Chris. I'm not.
Well, I do think a lot of people are. And in fact, we want you to comment about this, whether or not when he
Yeah.
does get that second MVP now in less than a week, whether or not it means anything. And so make sure you comment below while you're there. Hit the big thumbs up button because it does help us out. I do want to make this point. If he has another double-digit WAR season, he is going to pass the likes of David Ortiz, Yogi Berra, Pop Stargell, all of whom are in the Hall of Fame, all of whom played almost 2 decades, if not more, in this sport. And for Judge, it'll be year number 10 next year. That
David
just
Ortiz had a freaking double-digit WAR season.
no. What I'm saying is for career WAR, if Judge adds
Oh,
10 more
oh,
to his total, he's going to pass those guys who will have
wow.
played twice as long as him. That's just showing you how dominant he has been.
He's been dominant. I still can't get over it because I guess I don't know. I see him all the time in the regular season. It is special, man. It really is special.
But the difference, by the way, with those 3 names, Yogi Berra, 2 hands full of rings, Pop Stargell leading the Pirates in 1979 to 3-1 come from behind series win over the Orioles. David Ortiz, one of the great clutch performers in history.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about with those guys. Whereas, great regular season ball players, but you don't think of that's not the first thing you think of when you mention those 3 names.
I still don't think the first thing you think of when you think of Aaron Judge is postseason failure. Now,
Wow.
there is one guy that we do that with, which I think is also a little unfair. You know who I'm talking about?
I do want to know.
Left-handed pitcher for the Los
Oh,
Angeles
Clayton
Dodgers.
Kershaw, yeah.
Like he got to the point where I think people do think of that first.
Yeah.
And maybe it's different for a pitcher because you're seeing the emotion when he gave up that homer coming out of the bullpen, and we saw the start against the Diamondbacks a couple years ago. Like you just see he's like on center stage, if you will, but it hasn't got there for Judge for me.
And I will leave it with this. Barry Bonds, until 2002, when he almost led the Giants to their first World Series since moving to San Francisco and lit the world on fire that postseason, this was the same conversation we were having.
Okay.
It's just there wasn't social
See,
media.
I'm telling you, there's more to come, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see. Cy Young Awards, National League Sale Wheeler Skeens, American League Skubal Lugo Clase. The question I've got is as great as the year that Clase had, and let's dismiss what happened in October because it has nothing to do with the voting here. So if you can erase that from your memory for this conversation. Should this just become an award for starting pitchers? Because if there is truly a year that a reliever should win it, it's probably this one with Emmanuel Clase.
Okay, so my thought process is all effed up, Chris, because in my mind, I do think guys that are, on the mound, put together 35 starts, whatever it is, I think that they should be the ones winning the Cy Young Award. How many relievers have won it? It's like 8 or something like that total.
Yeah, so we haven't had one since Eric Gagne in
Yes.
03. Dennis Eckersley won not only
Yeah.
the Cy Young in 92, but the MVP as well. Yeah.
I think there's been 2 MVP. I don't know. Anyways, so in my mind, yes, I just being around the game, I think those starting pitchers mean so much that in my mind, yes, but then I'm going to champion for a DH to win the MVP this year. So I'm kind of put myself in a little bit of a pickle here.
You
Chris.
have.
So now I think logically I have to say no. I think relievers should be considered for this award as well because we do have talks about, who the best offensive player is. There's an award for that. We do have a reliever of the year award, but these are the two main awards. It's MVP. It is Cy Young. These are the awards that people really care about. So I have to say that no, I think that relievers should be included in there because they also, I'd say this, we're getting so much better at numbers and leverage and like WPA, like, win probability added. Like, there should be some other guys besides closers added into this. Guys that are putting out fires, I think, can be just as important as the guy that gets the last 3 outs of the game. So pitching is on its way to such a drastic change that I think that we do need to include relievers in this category.
Okay. I don't think so. I don't think that they should be in it.
Okay.
And here's why. First of all, I think that Scooble's going to win it. I think there's a possibility that he gets all the first place votes. And even though I am a huge Clase/Cleveland guy, I do believe that Tarek Skubal deserves it. If there is ever a year that a reliever does deserve it, I think this is it. And I want to go back and unpeel some of these numbers from over the years. First of all, let's start with the present day. Skubal's going to he threw about 120 innings more than Clase, but Clase was available for the entire season. His numbers were insane. His WAR was 4.5. Skubal's, I think, ended up being about 6.3. So it's not an enormous disparity when you look at the previous 2 relievers who won the award. So let's go back to Eck in 92. He won it going away. Jack McDowell was next. Roger Clemens finished 3rd. McDowell threw 260 innings that year. 260. Eckersley threw right around what Clase threw this year. He threw 80. Clemens had 3 times as much WAR as Dennis Eckersley. 3 times. Now, I know we weren't looking at that stat back then. Eckersley never would have won the award, the Cy Young, nor the MVP had it been present day. Even Eric Gagne won it over Jason Schmidt and Mark Pryor, both over 200 innings that year. Pryor had double the WAR of Eric Gagne, who had less WAR than Clase. Eckersley was almost 2 WAR less than Clase. So Clase had one of the great years in the history of the modern day closer. I'm not talking about when Bruce Sutter and Raleigh Fingers were throwing multiple innings as a closer. I'm talking about the way that we use him today. And it's not going to be close. So let's just get rid of it. Because if the guy who had one of the great seasons in the history of relief pitchers as being used today is not being seriously considered, and Skubal had a great year, but it's not the best year I've ever seen. It was a great year. Then let's just get rid of it. Let's just make a relief. There's a whatever. Is it the Rolaids relief? Is it that who's sponsored?
I think they changed the name of it now.
Okay, so you know what? There's a closer award.
Yeah.
They handed it out at the.
Is it the Rivera Award? Did they change it to that?
The American League is the Rivera, and Trevor Hoffman is the National League. But
okay.
I don't know if there's a sponsorship or whatever, but you understand my point. Let's just
not
do
have
that.
A sponsorship, guys. Can we not have a sponsorship for that? We don't need a sponsorship for everything. Come on.
So let's just do that.
Yeah.
That's my point, is that if there's ever a year for the guy to win it, it's this year, and he's not going to win it, and he's not going to come close.
I get your point. I'm looking at the numbers right now. 0.66 whip, 66 to Ks to 10 walks. And my counter argument to that is I think relievers are going to get more and more valuable, so you can't just take them out now all of a sudden. I think they need to be talked about as the most important pitchers in the game because it's going that way. So
he's not even considered. I think he'll finish a distant second is what it
he's plus 3,000 in the markets right now. That's I would not sprinkle that right now. I understand that, but maybe that's voter error. Maybe we'll wise up to it.
I don't think so.
Okay? I mean, Dan, check this out. Win probability added between the both of those two guys, Clase and Skubal.
Oh my God, you're gonna make
that's true.
Spontaneously combust.
And then because then I think you have to figure out a way, to match up the innings pitched and all that. So maybe
come on, man, he's got fast food waiting on the door. Somebody dropped it off
McDonald's
7 minutes ago. We got to get going.
He does.
Well, speaking of which, I just want to tell you about this.
Okay.
You know what we need all a little bit more of. To get off our ass. That's right. With bold flavors and a refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew is going to get you off your ass and have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather is always perfect, your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions awaits. So here's what I want you to do. Head on outside this weekend, equal parts competition and fun with your buddies out there. Go have a pickup hoops game, longest drive competition, pickup football, longest throw. If you're into gaming, bring out a monitor and your gaming headsets. Go do that. Play kickball, play wiffle ball, play blitzball, play pickleball, invent a new kind of ball. Why? Because the mountain is calling and you should answer. So grab your friends, grab an ice cold Mountain Dew wherever refreshing beverages are sold, and do the do. All right, we continue on. Rookies of the year. Most interesting category in both leagues, in my opinion. Skeens, and then the two Jacksons, Churio and Merrill in the National League. Cowser, Heel, Wells in the American League. Most competitive, no question, of the player awards next week. Give me a winner in each league. We'll both go National League first.
This one hurts the soul a little bit because are you asking me who I think should win, or who I think is going to win?
Give
Because those are two
me,
different answers for me.
yes, they are, or they could be. Give me a who you think should win.
I think Jackson Merrill should win National League Rookie of the Year. I do. He got asked. He was put in one of the most difficult situations you could ever be put in as a rookie. Hey, go play a different position on a postseason bound team. And I think Padres were not some team that came out of nowhere. Like, this is a team that was supposed to be in the postseason. So hey, go play center field, kid. And he did it exceptionally. And he was clutch all year, and he played all year, and he really became, one of the leaders of this San Diego Padres team. So I think he deserves it more because he got put into such a weird situation and excelled into a postseason race where I think Paul Skeens will win the award. And he was obviously dominant. The numbers are insane what he did this year. But like, I don't think there was a lot of pressure in that situation. Like, yeah, the Pirates weren't supposed to be in the playoffs, and he is a starting pitcher, and like that translates pretty well. And I think for a rookie, a young guy like Jackson Merrill to change positions and then come up and have the offensive year that he had, the defensive year that he had, and the base running year that he had, I just think it, to me, is more impressive. And it just, there was a lot more pressure on him, I think. So
Well,
I would choose Jackson Merrill. I think Paul Skeens is going to win.
not only that, I think that he's the MVP of the Padres on a team with Machado, Tatis, Bogarts. Profar had a great year, but Jackson Merrill was, in my opinion, the team MVP. How many times late in the game did we say, holy shit, he did it again? Are you kidding me? He went deep again after the eighth inning? Like, that is just ridiculous. His year was so, so good. And a WAR of over 4. Now, I
Yeah.
know that Paul Skeens, for a rookie who made at least 20 starts, his 1.96 ERA was the second lowest of all time. I get it. I really do. But if I had a vote, I too would vote for Jackson Merrill. Now, it would be by this much, by that much. But you're right, because unfortunately, the Pirates the last 6 weeks, they tried a couple of cute little trades to help them offensively, and it just went right in the dumper. Whereas the Padres, every game meant something. Everything meant something for them all year long. And he was a star, dude. Jackson Merrill was a star.
Can I just stop you because I got what I was looking for.
Yeah, sure.
Win probability added. If I take
Okay.
it down to 0 innings,
Okay.
to qualify, because Manuel Clase wouldn't have qualified under what
Right.
the innings limit was. He leads the big
Clase
leagues
does?
by a wide margin.
By
Yeah,
a wide margin.
6.23. Then it's actually Kirby Yates
Wow.
for the Rangers, and then it's Tarek Skubal.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't want to go backward on the discussion, but we appreciate that insight. Good job by you. Ameri Oh, Dan is chiming in our headset saying, "I had that 5 minutes ago." You know what, sir? You put a gold star on your job chart for Friday.
I'm gonna pat you on the back
By the
virtually.
way,
There you go.
you know what? I'm gonna send me your address. I'm gonna send you extra fast food after tonight. This was a really good performance by you. Um, American League Rookie of the Year.
This one's so tough, Chris, because I don't really think there was a standout performer
There
in this
wasn't.
league. Colton Cowser had a good year, a
Mhm.
solid year. I don't think you can debate that. He got better in the second half, which I like. And then Luis Heel is the other guy that is really in contention for this, and he really had one incredible month. And I think that was in May where he was 6-0 and he had a really, really good month. Everything else besides that was kind of just it was okay.
Mhm.
If I had to pick though, I would pick Luis Heel because he really did stabilize the Yankees rotation without that did not have Garrett Cole. And I think he during those 6 starts in May, I believe it was, um, kept them afloat. Like he was the guy that really helped them maintain their lead and eventually, obviously, winning the AL East. So I would my vote will go to Luis Heel, and I'm not so sure who's gonna win it. I think maybe Cowser because he played every day and played all three outfield positions. So I think if I'm looking at the betting odds, he is the favorite, but not by much. So I think I would vote for Luis Heel, and I think Cowser is going to win it.
Cowser was third on the Orioles in WAR among the position players. Gunnar, who was over a 9 WAR player, then Adley, who did not have a great year, and then Cowser. I thought was really good. The reason I would vote Cowser over Heel is, and I know Heel improved in this area, but I hate it when guys
You're not
walk
a
the world.
walker. You're not a walker. I know. That's why you don't like Blake Snell.
It just I do like Blake Snell, but
Well,
it's hard for me to watch certain guys. So, he had 77 walks in 151 innings. It's a lot, man. That is a lot of walks. So, I'm gonna go Colton Cowser barely over Heel. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh my god, Luis
yeah,
Heel won." I'm not feeling that way. And by the way, I would say I vote for Jackson Merrill. I think Paul Skeens is gonna win that award. That's just what I say.
yeah.
All right, manager of the year, Murphy Mendoza, shilled in the National League. Vote Quatraro, Hinch. Everybody in the American League Central going for it. I suppose the big question is, isn't this the year that Dave Roberts should have been considered?
He's won it before, hasn't he?
That's a good question.
Fact check, Dan. You're on it tonight. Fact
Let's
check
see.
that for us. I'm pretty sure
Get
he
that
has
burger
won
out
it
your grill
before.
and start checking that one. Oh, what was the
Oh,
question? He just gave it to us in our ears. Hey, Dan, how are we supposed to get people to listen to our show if you're not even listening right now? What was what?
we need to know if Dave Roberts has won Manager of the Year yet.
I don't think he has, to
I
be
don't think he
honest with
has
you.
either.
I
Actually,
don't
yeah.
either. So
Um,
I know what the argument is
no.
against. He won it in
Okay, he won in
2016.
2016. Okay, I was
Okay,
right.
there you
See, I
go.
got in the back of my head. I keep these things.
Nice.
I don't, Chris, and I'll give you my reason. He's supposed to have a good team. Like that's the best roster, if not or one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in all of baseball. So he's more like managing personalities, in my opinion. That's what he does best. That's probably why he got the job for the Dodgers, understanding that that's what they need. They have uh, probably more coaches and more people helping run that team than any other organization in baseball, like getting guys ready to play, whether that's player development, front office. Like they are stacked with people ready to help. So, like, yes, did he have a great postseason? And did he make some right moves? Like, yeah, like great. But I giving a guy manager of the year that has a roster like that doesn't seem right to me. So I don't think he should be considered this year.
Well, but he did have a lot of obstacles to get
He had some
past.
injuries, but then he also just like brought people in. Like they had a great trade deadline and
Don't you think though that sometimes managing or coaching teams that are supposed to be that great, sometimes it can get a little sideways. I mean, Phil Jackson finally got rewarded with a coach of the year that the Bulls went 72 and 10. A few years ago, Dave Roberts didn't get it when they won 111 games during the regular season. That's a pretty fantastic year. I mean, when are we just because you manage or coach a good team doesn't mean you're not doing a hell of a job.
Well, you know my feeling on managers anyway. Like
I
the
know, yeah,
players have to
that's
go
true.
play. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
you're
not your
talking
thing.
about all these guys you're talking about right here. You know, their teams were successful. So like it's the team mostly.
Mhm.
I would say like Stephen Vogt with zero managerial experience, like leading that young team. You know, they also had injuries. They also like he maneuvered that bullpen as well as anybody. Like I think he had a harder job than Dave Roberts did.
Well, I guess my point is this, like, I have not Pat Murphy, I think, is gonna steamroll here, if not be the
I do
unanimous
too.
winner in the National League.
I think
Carlos Men
Murphy and Vogt are going to steamroll.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think Kansas City, based on where they were and where they finished, is I think that's probably might be a popular decision, but we'll see.
Okay.
But as far as the other two, Carlos Mendoza, he's taken over a Mets team, which we know has a pretty big payroll and high expectations. And by the way, they stunk for the first 2 months, and then he got them pointed in the right direction. I'll give him some kudos for that, but I don't know if I can give him more than what Dave Roberts got. And Mike Schilt, yes, the Padres made it a year after being basically a 500 team. Is that his doing? I don't know. He has something to do with it. It's just I think at some point we have to I don't know. It's a hard argument. It's a hard argument in this world.
It's well because I'll tell you why. Every managerial job is different. You know, it really to me the biggest thing a manager has to do is be able to understand each individual and what motivates them.
Mhm.
Like you have to be able to read guys and who needs the pat in the butt and who needs the kick in the ass. Like that is the number one job for you. Then it's I think provide like a steady face to the media and answer questions and be insightful and kind of handle that. And then like the in-game stuff almost to me is like third
Mm,
in like what a manager needs to do. Like a lot of that stuff is scripted, Chris. You know that.
interesting. All right, I want to thank our friends over at SeatGeek for sponsoring baseball today. Baseball season is done, but the world of entertainment is never finished. So whether you want to go to an NFL game or you want to go to college football or hoops or NHL or if you want to go to a concert or a festival, it doesn't matter because this is the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball and the best place to buy tickets as well. The thing I love about SeatGeek, they are always looking out for your wallet. They rate every ticket on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know if you're getting the best deal possible. They also color code it if you're into that as well. There's a green dot, that's good. Red dot, that's bad. And here's another great thing. Everybody can use the code today10 for 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek. That's whether you're a brand new customer or not. No matter how many times you bought tickets using the SeatGeek app before, today 10 is going to get you 10% off your next order. So you take out that phone, open the SeatGeek app, or download it if you don't have it before. Add that code today 10. What are you waiting for? Because it's only available for a limited time. Code today 10, 10% off your next order. As we told you at the beginning of the show, out in Las Vegas, MLB all first and second teams. They handed out the reliever awards, comeback player of the year awards, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, how about Mookie? Good
Looks
fit there,
good.
right?
I like the monochrome. I like the full turtle.
Yeah,
Looks good. I like that.
yeah. Chris Young, Harold Reynolds looking nice. Sierra Santos looking lovely. Emmanuel Clase.
That's
Uh,
is that's Class A right there?
that is. That
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Some big old chains, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There they are.
That's nice.
Don't love the color combo there. It's too much.
Shota. How about Shota?
I,
Classy.
I'm kind of into the monochrome theme right now. Like I like that little pop of green with the tie. I think I'm kind of colorblind when it comes to that. I think that's green and purple and or navy maybe.
Yeah, it looks navy-ish. By the way, Shota
Okay.
doesn't look like a big guy, huh? Looks
What
pretty
do you mean? It's
small.
great hair.
Great hair.
Phenomenal hair show.
Yeah, that's good. Skeens doing his best Chris Bryant, I think.
So I've always thought Skeens needs a stylist. Like he'll get one. Like he didn't look good on the red carpet for the All-Star game. This is not great to me. This is like banker-ish. Like you got all the talent in the world, dude. You're a stud. I don't mean to take any. I'm just giving you advice, not trying to bring you down. A little stylist would help.
Well, although it looks like he's growing out his hair and his beard. I think that is helping him. You got to remember, he's
Okay,
really
yeah.
young, too.
He's
not
young. That's what I'm saying. Chris, I'm just trying to help out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was wearing basically this Same thing I am wearing at his age. Oh my god.
It's
Who is
not
that? That's Mason
That's
Miller?
Mason Miller. I
It's
don't
sometimes
love
it's
it.
hard to tell when they're not wearing
Th
their hats.
this looks like a during the season suit. Like, dude, it's fall. It's too
Mhm.
too bright. It's
Too bright.
nighttime.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Yeah, no.
Okay. Garrett Crochet? I
I
assume that's
like it.
white.
It's a little kinda like standard, that needs a little bit more flair. His wife looks great. It's a beautiful dress.
Sharon Duran, of course. Look what's on the inside of his jacket.
Yeah, I know. I
Interesting.
know. He's trying something. I don't love it. I don't love it. Is this like a snakeskin with print all over? It's a little too loud for me, but
Yeah,
okay.
it looks like there were a bunch of cans of paint thrown on it, and they just all kind of landed where they
Like
landed.
here's the thing with Jaren Duran, like this roped up, jacked body, like he can kind of make everything look good. Like I think this is too much for him. He needs to
Mm.
like kind of go a little bit more understated, in my
He
opinion.
should have gone shirtless under this.
Yeah, or like or
He's
sleeveless. Yeah,
oh, sleeveless. Yeah,
yeah. That's what I would
done the
have done.
Pat McAfee thing. That would have been
Yeah.
nice for him.
Oh, that's
Uh,
fun. We should do that more often. That's like right in my alley right there.
well, here's the thing. I appreciate the effort of Major League Baseball. I really am. Don't go opposite an NFL game. Stop doing that. They do the Gold Glove Awards
That's so funny. You're totally right.
on a they do the Gold Glove Awards on a Sunday night. A
Yeah,
Sunday night. Like, what are we
no, don't
doing?
do that.
You just and I know that there's not a perfect time because people want to come out for maybe a long weekend in Vegas or something. So if you do it on
They
a
could have done it
Wednesday,
tomorrow. What do you mean? I don't know. Like,
yeah, they could have done it on a Friday. Not that
do
anybody
like
would.
a reception tonight on Thursday, you party, and then come. I don't know.
I don't know either. Just if you're trying to build it up as something, and if you really want to make it an award show, I know it's different than NFL honors because everybody is in town for the Super Bowl. Then you have to get everybody together. What?
Oh, I would say invite us if you really want to make it a
Oh,
party.
well, no, I mean that's not happening anytime
I'll be
soon.
in Vegas in like 3 weeks, so
Will you?
or 2 weeks.
What do you got? You got a
Charity event.
oh, that's
Little
nice.
poker, little golf. Yeah.
Is this Tory Hunter's thing?
Still got Game Foundation, Kenny
Oh,
Lofton, Torrey Hunter, Eddie
that's awesome.
Gordardo, the Troy Hawkins. I'll
I
see
love
Albert
that.
Pujols. I'll see Chenho Park.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, great collection of players there. Greg Maddux
Oh,
and
yeah.
and T. Plouffe.
Yes. That's the best one there. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Be safe out there. We want to see you back here bright and early on Monday. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, who almost earned an A+ on this show. Almost. He was this close to it. That is the uber talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday here on Baseball Today.